First of the month, new first for the SportsMax Zone, where we'll unleash the ultimate football 11 on you. And oh, I left my watch at the spa. The reveal show starts now. The zone hosts, we own 30% of the votes. Our panel of experts, and it's a full panel today, they have 30% of the votes. While you, the sage viewers at home, the fans, many of you, 40% of the power in selecting the SportsMax Ultimate 11. So let no man or woman say the voting was biased. Let no man or woman say he or she wasn't in, because you had your chance to vote for the footballer that you wanted. And yeah, you should have selected who you wanted. The voting ended at 1 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time. That's midday in Jamaica. And here is what those look like. On the point of the goalkeepers, the goalie selection: Oli Khan, 18.52%. Gigi Buffon, 30.98%. Neuer, my selection, 16.5%. Dinozov, 2.36%. Peter Schmeichel, 17.17% for the Great Dane. The Great Englishman, Gordon Banks, 1.68%. My favorite goalkeeper from the 1990s, Michel Prudhomme from Belgium, 1.68%. The legendary Sepp Maier, 0.67%. Levi Yashin, Black Panther, 8.08%. And the outstanding Italian, Walter Zenga, 2.36%. So that's what the fans voted for. How did they vote for the defenders? Paolo Maldini got 81.82% of votes. Cannavaro, 2006 World Cup winning captain and FIFA World Player of the Year, 33.67%. The great Argentine 1978 World Cup winning captain, Daniel Passarella, 5.72%. De Kaiser, Franz Beckenbauer, 64.65%. Franco Baresi, 22.22%. Watch Fabio Capello last night say Baresi is the best defender he has coached. Bobby Moore, Sir Bobby Moore, 6.06%. Billy Costa Curta, outstanding in Serie A, even in his 40s, 0.67% of the votes. My selection, one of my selections at least, Ronald Koeman, because he scored so many goals, 9.43%. Cafu for the fullbacks, 83.16%. Jalma Santos, 0.67%. Roberto Carlos, 80.47%. Andy Bremer, two-footed, 4.38%. Junior, 4.71%. A wild card, Carlos Alberto Torres, the captain from 1970 for Brazil, no votes. Dani Alves, a wild card, got 2.36% of the votes. The midfield, my producer says, this is how the fans online voted. Xavi, 23.57%. Iniesta, 35.35%. Zinedine Zidane, 82.49%. Lothar Matthäus, 19.19%. Garrincha, 8.75%. Zico, 12.46%. Luis Figo, 12.79% for the Portuguese. Johan Cruyff, 45.12%. Diego Maradona, 67%. And Sir Bobby Charlton. Now, let me slow down here. Sir Bobby Charlton, arguably England's finest ever footballer, only 5.05% of the vote for a man who survived the Munich air disaster, came back to help the team win a European Cup and win the Division 1 title, and cemented his legend. That's what he got. Rivellino, outstanding for Brazil in the 70s, but overshadowed by Pele. He got 3.70% of the votes. Enzo Francescoli, my second favorite South American player all time, a man who led Uruguay to multiple Copa America wins. They called him the Prince. He played for River Plate 2, wore number 10, 0.34%, played in France for Olympique Marseille, didn't get much love. Michel Platini, and this is the only grievance I have with this August panel of zone hosts and the men online, 9.09% for Platini online, and the live panel treated him even worse. Ronaldinho, 75.08% for Ronaldinho online, a favorite of Chris Martin on our expert panelists. CR7, 36.03%. Pele, 39.06%. Messi, 47.14%. Ronaldo Luis Nazario de Lima, 54.88%. And those were the top four forwards. No vote for Hugo Sanchez, the outstanding Mexican who scored a ton for Real Madrid. Well, as for the panel, for the Ultimate 11 Review show, it's more like a virtual party. And I mean that when I say a party, because we have a world-class entertainer among the group. We have Brent Sancho, who is a correspondent with the SportsMax Zone, part of our commentary and analysis team and our team of hosts. We have Juan Giarango. He's at a Boca Juniors jersey he's having on. I'm not quite sure. I see tennis. He can only be wearing Arsenal. Fret not, he's a fickle football. Well, he's not a fickle guy. He's a knowledgeable guy, a former St. Lucia international, but he has a soft team. That's tennis's only fault in life. He's an Arsenal fan. Then we come down, we have Colin Murray. He is a veteran in these things. Yeah, nice and easy in his glasses in the middle of the shot on the bottom of the grid. We have Ricardo Fuller, the former Stoke City striker, outstanding player in the English Premier League. I've rated him from he was at Tivoli Gardens and from he was in high school. And we leave, Camperdown, we leave the man who went to the University of Technology, Business Administration, like myself. We are outstanding guys. And Chris Martin, it's a big deal. So, are you ready? Is the question. Are you ready, gentlemen? Are you ready, gentlemen, online?
Yes,
Ready.
Yes,
ready, we're ready.
Yes, we are.
All right. Here we go. What's happening now?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah?
What's happening here?
How are y'all doing?
We're good.
Well, it's definitely been I have to say, a devastating 2 weeks. A lot of riots with both of y'all, you and Wayne especially. I mean, you all had a lot of debates, a lot of arguments. So I have the results with me. You all are going to get 10 seconds to see it. 10 seconds to see who you voted for. Wait, George.
Oh.
All right, go ahead.
I should go ahead.
First time, the results, first time ever seen. Are you all pleased?
Yeah, some analytics about the forward selections. And, okay. Okay. All right.
10 seconds is up, I feel.
10 seconds is up.
And of course, now we turn to the SportsMax Ultimate 11. Y'all get to have a look. Buffon was the top pick for both online. Lance, I'll start with you. You tell me how you feel seeing this.
It's a solid 11, quite frankly. My disappointments came in the online voting when I saw 1.68% for Gordon Banks, who was my selection as a goalkeeper. Pele only at 39%.
Yeah.
As George mentioned, Michel Platini only 9%. So in the process, there were some disappointments for me. But this final 11 is a pretty solid final 11 for me. I have no major issues.
Well, Wayne usually has a lot of contradictions. Wayne, how do you feel?
It's amazing. My only concern, I know one person out of that 11 I did not select was Zinedine Zidane. I have Michel Platini. And therefore, that would be my only concern. Other than that, it's a formidable lineup. Fantastic stuff, and therefore, congratulations to everyone.
George, any problems?
No problems. It would have been a travesty had Lionel Messi made this team. And I'm happy that the travesty did not happen.
Well, gentlemen, Buffon was the top pick for both online and the panelists. Wayne has an issue with Levier Shin not being picked. Wayne, talk to me about that issue.
Have we got who?
You had an issue with Levier Shin not being picked.
Yes, because when George, read out his resume, it was amazing. Such a fantastic player. And I thought that maybe lack of knowledge with some of our online viewers in particular, voters who really did not maybe research enough on him. He's an outstanding footballer, and he should have been in that team, hands down.
I have to include the panelists in this. Do any of you agree with Wayne? One, what about you?
Not at all. I mean, great legendary player, a player that evolutionized or maybe helped evolutionize the position in the 1950s and 1960s. But it's a different game now. I mean, you have to have goalkeepers that can play with their feet. You have to have a more dynamic player in goal.
Yeah.
And Levier Shin wasn't that. Of course, a victim of circumstance and sometimes history being the cruelest aspect in terms of comparison. But I wouldn't put him as the greatest goalkeeper of all time. Maybe the best in his era, but not the greatest of all time.
Well, the wing backs were almost straightforward until Wanji and Colin used their wildcards. Dani Alves and Carlos Alberto. Colin, I'm sure you're more than happy with Cafu at the wing back.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look at Carlos Alberto, scored probably one of the greatest goals in a World Cup final. Definitely, as far as a wing back is concerned, one of the greatest goals, if not the greatest. So I was a little disappointed that he ended up with no votes. But like Yashin, I think he was a victim of playing too early. In other words, had he been around now, Carlos Alberto, it would have been a different story with him. But having said that, I really have no issue with Cafu at the wing back position.
Well, both online voters and the panelists have the same four midfielders, but what was more shocking, the love for Zidane more than Platini, or the fact that Iniesta and Xavi got more votes than Platini? Tennyson, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the final four in terms of midfield worked out to be superb, because what you have is four classy midfielders, not only in terms of position, but they too can interchange, which is what how dynamic that the choice of that team is. So as much as there's central defenders and wing central midfielders and the wingers, they can interchange. That brings about the true class of the selection of that team, and I'm fully satisfied with the four chosen.
Then the big debate, the 17 forwards went down to really a top three. Online voters had it as Ronaldo, number 9, as the sure pick, then Messi second and Pele third, with Cristiano Ronaldo not far behind in fourth. George, it is time for you to tell the world how you voted for the forwards.
Well, I must tell you that I really wanted a one striker in my team so I could fit another midfielder in, because I feel that if you have CR9, if you have R9 in the team, then you didn't need anybody else. And I'd have put Pele behind him, of course. I wouldn't have had Messi in my team. And Chris Martin raised an issue about Messi and Ronaldo being in the striker's position, and especially Messi, who is no use receiving the ball on the half turn or with his back to goal. He can't do that. He can do many things. So I think we may have had him in the wrong slot, and that's maybe why he's not in the team.
Chris, do you agree with George?
Well, definitely, I agree. The forwards, definitely. It would be a travesty. It would be very unfortunate, because I don't even feel like R9 would want to play if Pele wasn't in that team. You understand? I don't feel any of these forwards would feel deserving. I don't feel like they would deserve their space. If Pele, if the God not in the team, it would be such a crime for us to go through all this work. You know, I want to reach that part where we mess it up. So I feel awesome about it. Pele has to be in it. Has to be. 100%. Although my favorite forward happens to be Ronaldo, R9, you understand? But I don't think he would even want to be in this 11 if Pele wasn't up there with him. It would be wrong, man. Trust me.
All right, so I have to hear from my Trini friend, Brent Sancho. Brent.
Well, I think we've had a week or so of some very, very difficult decisions to make, but I think more so at the forward position. And I agree with some of them, and I know George is putting the blame at my feet because of the formation I selected. But I do think that we've left out players like Ronaldo and Messi, and I tend to believe that one or even two of them could possibly play in the middle of the park. But it's what is remarkable, a man like Ronaldo, R9, not R9, sorry, R9, the big man up front, that there was no dispute whatsoever by any of the panelists, anyone in studio, and even the fans that are voting, that he is undisputably the best striker that ever played the game. And here's a man that barely played. He was playing with injury. So it just shows you that here's a player that is not heavily counted in any other conversation for the best player in the world, that could easily win so many plaudits by a cross-section of people.
Ricardo, imagine Messi topped Pele in the online votes. Your view on that?
Well, to be honest, I don't agree with that. I know it's personal choice at the end of the day, online votes, but as Chris Martin said, a Pele in a team like this is a travesty, and it's a crime. Remember, this particular legend was voted the sportsman of the century. You know, that's not a title that you look at lightly. And all these players, I'm sure Messi, Ronaldo 7, Ronaldo 9, all these other players look up to a player like Pele the legend. So I don't agree with that. Pele and R9 would have been in my two strikers.
All right, so we pause for a quick break, but on the other side, we ask the panelists two simple football questions. Who's the skipper and who is the gaffer? We take a break.
Back on the SportsMax Zone, the football team Ultimate 11 on SportsMax Zone. Revealed today, the Zone hosts, you remember, responsible for 30% of the weight going into the final decision by the elimination process. I had to vote off my German striker, Gerd Müller, before they got down to the final 3 or 4. Wayne's pick 4 goalie did not make it. That's Yev Lashin and George Davis. Nearly fainted when Wayne voted off Ronaldinho and Zidane. Juan Arango sent Messi home early. The online voting made their 40% voice heard. And these are the top vote getters. We now ask our panel which of these legends would be the best captain for this Ultimate 11 team. Should it be the overall online vote getter? So the top vote getters: Cafu, Zidane, Maldini, Roberto Carlos, Ronaldinho. Those were the men that led the votings as far as the online voters were concerned. But I'm not seeing in that list the person I considered to be the best choice as a captain of this 11.
Beckenbauer.
Yes, Franz Beckenbauer.
For me, there were only two candidates for captain.
Yes.
Maradona and Beckenbauer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Juan Arango. Who captains this team?
For starters,
Yes.
the Brazilians
Definitely.
should just be the ones that are in charge of coordinating the post-game party. That's it. Okay? Let's get started with that. The only ones, especially Ronaldinho. He knows where to go party. That's about it.
Yes.
For me, it's Maradona. For me, it's Maradona. El Diego is the only one that has that fire. He is going to light a fire under every single one of these players if they're not stepping up. He's the one that's gotten into other players' faces when they weren't performing. He has that intangible. Sometimes he'll have to look up to most of them, but that's not a problem. He's got an intensity. He had an intensity throughout his career that has made him just unbearable as an individual, but also beloved because of that intensity that he's shown. I don't think there's another player on this pitch that has that fire. It has to be Maradona, without a doubt in my mind.
All right, well, let's start with Colin Murray. Do you agree with Juan then that Maradona is the automatic pick to captain this team, because there are several others here who captain teams successfully at the highest level?
Not at all. I am thinking of just three people, which is, and I always prefer my captain to be in the defense. I'm looking at Buffon, I'm looking at Maldini, and I'm looking at Beckenbauer. And of course, of the three, I've got to go with Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer was always cool, he was calm, he knew how to pace his game, he knew when to shout at a player, he knew when to cool a player down. I thought he was the ultimate leader. There was no doubt in my mind, if you had come to that game late, and you looked up, even if he didn't have on the captain's armband, and nobody was wearing the captain's armband, you look on the field and you knew Beckenbauer was the leader of that team.
Chris Martin, Mr. Big Deal, who is your captain for this 11?
I definitely agree with Mr. Murray.
Yes.
100%. 100%. Beckenbauer he's the ultimate selection for this Ultimate 11. You understand? I need somebody who I love when when I'm playing football, my captain was always in the defense. He sees the entire game, and he knows who is not pulling the right weight, who needs to do more. And I feel like Beckenbauer, based on the clips that I've watched and all of that, because I never got to see live games of him, but based on the clips that I've watched, he has all of that leadership qualities. Yes, definitely. Maradona is very spicy, and he seems to get in the faces of his players and other players. But, at the end of the day, I don't feel like that is all that is needed where captaincy is concerned.
Yeah,
definitely, I feel like Beckenbauer is the choice.
Okay, let's go to our three players and let's start with Brent Sancho, who played the 2006 World Cup in Italy for Trinidad and Tobago in defense. Who is your captain, Brent, for this 11?
I think similar to Colin, I always felt that a captain that can see the field from behind, or a person or a leader that can see the field from behind, either a goalkeeper or a defender, always seems to be a good captain. I know my good friend Ricardo Fuller may see differently, but I would say throughout world football, goalkeepers and defenders have been good captains. Of course, I lean very heavily towards Buffon because of my love affair with Juventus. And what he has done there at the club level, and even at the national team level. This is a man that would have led his country to victory at a World Cup, as well as arguably, not arguably, the most successful team in Serie A, which is Juventus, and to keep a group of players fully focused for so many years, to win so many Serie A titles is a tremendous feat. And I mean, of course, Beckenbauer is a close second. But for me, I lean a bit more for Buffon. I would be acceptable with the fact that Beckenbauer is named as well, but Buffon is my choice.
Yeah. Tennyson Glasgow, a flank defender for St. Lucia in his playing days. How does Cafu grab you as a team leader here? Or are you siding with one of the experts who spoke earlier?
Yeah, and I always go with the central defender in terms of Beckenbauer because you need leadership. You have a bag of egos there. And you're talking about top flight players who need probably some motivation, who probably need to be stabilized. They can handle themselves, but you need somebody with a calm head to steer that ship or steer that team in the right direction. And Germans have a sort of a natural leadership stuff about them. They're disciplined, they approach, they know how to win even if when you think the chips are down. So all of those qualities or those ingredients I say Beckenbauer has. And know what? Just knowing that he is the captain, those guys would pull up the socks and play the game that people beautifully love.
Ricardo Fuller, do you have a punch to put in for one of the front men, Diego Maradona, as captain?
Well, for me, both. Yeah, well, both. You know, I support Argentina. Diego Maradona it would be one of my choices to select as a captain. But for me, I'll go with Franz Beckenbauer because obviously, not only is a natural leader, but also he's on and off the field. He does, you know, he's just different class, and that's what you want in a captain. And a Chris, Mr. Murray, Brent, you know, everybody has said it. You know, they've said so much. You know, for me, is the obvious choice. Franz Beckenbauer.
All right, Juan and George, Beckenbauer popular among the group?
Absolutely popular, but I like Maldini as well. And just like in cricket, rarely you see a fast bowler captain in an international team. For some reason, batsmen are the ones who captain the team. And similarly in football, I like a central defender or my goalkeeper would captain. Yes, the guys up front, they're more busy trying to get things done, and the guys in the defense, they tend to see a lot in front of them and can make certain decisions and whatever. So I'm always like a defensive person, and I like Maldini. He's calm, he's cool, he's collected, he's calculated, and he's tough and very unruffled really, and I've always liked him as well. So Maldini or Beckenbauer is fine for me either way.
Well, Mr. Producer, don't you want me to tell you who I think the captain should be first, though? Okay, great. So here's the thing. My captain for this team cannot be someone who has any of the schoolmaster about his personality, and that's what Franz Beckenbauer has. My captain has to be a free spirit who, by quality of talent, the other free spirits can feel free playing for and with. I want nobody to upbraid anybody on the field. I want someone who, by their approach and their ability, make everybody feel free to be themselves, because that's why we've selected these men based on their individuality as well as how they fit into a team construct. And for me, the only captain can be Maradona, because Beckenbauer has something of the schoolmaster about him. There's nothing that any of the men have said about Beckenbauer that is false. It is true, and his credentials are outstanding. But for the character of this team, for the fact that in Beckenbauer's time, Beckenbauer didn't play with any flamboyant players. So I don't know, I suspect that he wouldn't probably get along well with someone who dribbled and lost the ball and didn't track back. I want someone who can understand someone looking to express themselves, losing the ball, and then someone having to cover for them. That's why Maradona is my natural selection. So we have a split. We have a stalemate.
Well, Maradona is my favorite footballer either, so therefore, but I've always felt, I'll give you a half, it's half, I'll give you a half, because it's hard for me to go against my argument what I just said about my defender and Beckenbauer. Maldini, sorry, solid, and you know, I've always respected him, I've watched him a lot, but Maradona is the inspirational guy, that he's my guy. From the first time I saw him in the World Cup, I've never taken my eyes off him, and therefore, I did go and say Beckenbauer. Sorry, Maradona.
Maradona. He says Maradona. So a schoolmaster can't captain this side, gentlemen. I'm sorry. It has to be Maradona. All right? We're going to talk about the gaffers.
So have we decided on it?
Yes, Maradona. We're going to talk about the gaffers.
You decided on it?
Yeah, we voted with Maradona.
Well, you have a chance to say Maradona.
No, he said Maradona. So we go to the break by saying that. Yes,
he didn't quite say that. He didn't quite say that.
I didn't quite say that.
You were urging him to say it, but he didn't quite say it.
Lance, what is wrong with you?
Listen, I cannot come out and say I've always liked a defender as my captain and then say Maradona. Even though I love Maradona.
Just say it.
Yeah, give me a thing.
Wayne, I signed the things.
You did?
Maradona. Maradona is the vote, gentlemen. Maradona for captain. When we break, gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about who will coach this team. We're going to look at some candidates.